Well, we've spent another £100 million, nearly, and we play up against PSG today. Can we go top of the table? We'll need to beat them to get there. So, let's find out. Yes, hello, welcome into Live Sports here for another episode of Glory Hunter on Football Manager 22. Here with Monaco. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And if you missed the last one, go and check out so you know where we are, so you're all caught up. You don't want to be missing out on this. We're getting to the business end of the season now. We're into the January window, second half of the year. Can we somehow win a trophy in our first season as Monaco manager? Well, today's game will go a long way to deciding that, if we can get a positive result against PSG. I did mention we spent some money in the January window, and we have been back at our old club again. Bjarke Jensen, the right back, 21 years of age. We've paid £51 million over 4 years for him. I know what you're thinking, we already have a right back, but Wan-Bissaka's 31 years of age. I thought someone who's young can develop into a very, very good player. And I thought, wait a minute, we signed Bjarke Jensen at Villarreal several years ago for £12 million. He played 3 games and he hasn't done really that much since then. So we've paid £50 million for a player who doesn't really play for Villarreal. Yeah, maybe not the best bit of business in terms of that, but I think he could be a very, very good player going forward. Nice physical stats. And he's all right defensively as well. He's got good long throws. That's an important one for a right back as well. We're training him up as a left back too, so he can cover in both of those positions. 6'1", so a little bit of height about him. I like him. I think he's solid. I think he'll do a very, very solid job for us. Maybe not this season, maybe not next season, but certainly as a right back of the future, he is going to be very exciting indeed. We also had a free transfer of a Chinese goalkeeper called Ren Kunda. He looks very good. Unfortunately, he's Chinese, which is classed as one of the foreign players in France. We already have 4 of them, so he couldn't play for us. So away he goes. He's out on loan at Monterrey in South America. Or Central America? I can't quite remember where Monterrey is. Mexico, yes, Central America. The reason we signed him was because we let go of our backup keeper, so we didn't have a goalkeeper as a backup keeper, which means that Kunda was going to be a backup keeper, but then he couldn't be a backup keeper because he couldn't get registered. So we then paid £6 million for Anthony Rasiope. You can see £6 million. He had been the goalkeeper for Brest the last 2 years. We signed him. A fairly well-rounded goalkeeper, nice experience, 30 years of age. The important thing here, nationality, French, which means he helps towards our homegrown player limit, which is good. You don't want to really waste one of those non-homegrown player slots in the backup goalkeeper. That's why you have people like Rob Green and Scott Carson and all that had such long Premier League careers, because they were useful as a backup goalkeeper because they didn't take up a foreign player place. And the other signing we've made is another one possibly for the future, but also possibly for right now. Salah's our first choice right winger, and I didn't really have a backup because Demir's in on loan, so I've signed Mamadou Niang. He is signed from Strasbourg for £40 million. Looks very, very fast. He's fairly tall at 6 foot as well. Very well determined. Good technique as well. Nice dribbling. Could be a very tricky winger out there. He says he's a striker, but I think I'd like to play him as a winger. He's left-footed, playing off that right-hand side. That could be basically a Salah in the making. But again, you'll have noticed, maybe not with Jensen, but the last 2, he's French as well, Niang, so he helps add to our French player list, I suppose, because we got rid of a lot of French players in the summer. I didn't think about that, and that was a problem we'd had. The reason we were able to sign all these players is because we sold quite a few. Some of them were already organised before the January window. Rafinha went to Shakhtar Donetsk. He went for £23 million. Didn't play for us at all this season. You can see that year was actually last year. The stats there. He didn't play at all for us this season. I basically replaced him with some other players and got £23 million for him. Not bad at all, in my opinion. Lukadinya had went to Dynamo Kiev as well, 35 years of age. He wanted to go. We got £1.3 million for him, and since we signed him for nothing, he played 1 game in the league and then we sold him for £1 million. It's a pretty decent deal. We'd also sold 3 players to Ajax for a total of about £45–50 million. The first one being Pascal Struijk, the centre back. He wasn't happy he wasn't playing, so away he goes. Same reason for Raul Bellanova, the Italian right wing back. Not happy he wasn't playing, so away he went. And the last one of the players that Ajax took from us in the January window, Antonio Marin, the Croatian winger. Again, not happy he wasn't playing, so away he goes. We went to about £50 million off those 3 players. And one last one that might be a bit sad for some of you. We talked about Weghorst earlier on in the season. He didn't really play for us, obviously. He didn't really fit our system, so we sold him to PSV for £975,000. And that's all the transfers that happened in this window, which means a total of £288 million has been spent and £218 million has been received. Now we've gone through the transfers, I'll tell you how we've got on in our fixtures since we last met. We did meet for the draws, didn't we, against Lille and against Man United. 2 disappointing results there. We continued on that disappointment with a 1-1 draw against Lorient, which was not a good game at all for us there. We did, however, follow up with a 5-0 victory and a 4-1 victory in the Cup. And that gets us through to the 11th round, which I believe is the last 16 we play up against Saint-Etienne. And that, we won't get to see that, but we'll hopefully show you the later stages of that French Cup. We then moved on to 3 Ligue 1 games since we came back from our winter break. And there have been 3 victories. One up against Lyon, it was 4-2, goals for Simic, 2 from Salah and 1 from Bentancur. We then played Strasbourg, where we won 2-0, Salah and Toshmeni in that one. And then we just most recently played up against Montpellier, where it was a 3-0 victory, 2 goals from Simic and 1 from Salah in that one. So that leaves us, I don't know why I'm looking at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I'll be honest, what happened there? So that leaves us just 3 points behind PSG. However, we have played a game extra because next weekend, because of our cup game or something like that, it's going to be, we played a game earlier, the game up against Lyon. You can see ourselves and Lyon have played 20 games compared to everyone's 19. Something weird happened, but nonetheless, we are 3 points behind PSG, even though they have a game in hand. If we win today, we could go top of the table, but PSG do still have that game in hand where they could move ahead of us yet again. But possibly the most important game of the season for us here. We certainly can't afford to lose it. I really wouldn't like to draw. We really could do with the win at home up against PSG. It's going to be tough, but can we do it? Let's show the team for it. Right, so here we are. We have injuries to Darwin and Llorente, and also Sturgeon as well. So we've lost our 2 first-choice centre-backs, and actually possibly one of our backup centre-backs as well. So the team's not quite at full strength. It does mean that Thielmann's going to drop back into centre-back and play alongside Sutalo, which means Bentancur gets a game in defensive midfield. Kobolo playing goal, and Wan-Bissaka and Christensen will start as the full-backs today. I think the defensive abilities of Wan-Bissaka over Jensen makes a lot of sense in this game up against PSG. Ahead of Bentancur, we'll have Tushmeni and Antonelli, Salah, Porretta and Maroni, the front 3. The bench does have Niang on there, in case he makes his debut. He hasn't played for us yet, so he might have his debut today, as well as Rodrigo and Simic, who've been playing pretty well for us recently when we've had a bit of rotation. So let's get into this game against PSG and let's see if we can keep the pressure on them. If they beat us today, I would say the title's over and we're only in January. So here we are the home team today. Recent form, 5 wins, which is pretty decent for us. PSG have got a draw in there, but look at that team. Pino, Makoko, Haaland up front there. Risi, who we used to have when we were at Roma, remember, in midfield. That's a pretty good team, this Paris Saint-Germain team. They are 3 points ahead of us, as you can see from the league table. A top of the table clash. Can we go and get the victory today? That would take us possibly top of the table. Maybe not. If it's done by goal difference, you need to win, I think, by 5 goals, which is probably not going to happen, as early on here PSG have the ball. And it's down the left hand side and all the way back to the defence. That's good for us, forcing them back. However, they are going to try and break through here as Makoko gets past the defender. He hits it off the base of the post and it's cleared away by Wan-Bissaka. That was a bit dangerous, and Makoko managed to clearly get in behind the defence with no issue at all and nearly put PSG 1-0 up there. There's not been many chances early on in this game, but we have just had the one of them. We haven't had to see it though. Half an hour gone, just that one highlight so far. Now we've got the ball at the back here with Christensen. He finds Antonelli and back to Christensen. It's lovely play down the left-hand side. Paretta back to Christensen. Over to Bentancur, who is on a yellow card. And Tushman, he's in behind the defence here. He's got to finish it. It's off the outside of the post. What an effort from him there. It looks like it's going to be a goal kick. I thought he might have flagged for offside there. This isn't referee. But no, it wasn't to be. What a chance for Tushmani there. In behind the defence. No one in that PSG midfield tracking him back. We get to half time. There's only been a handful of shots. 9 overall in the game. 2 from each team on target. We should possibly be ahead with that chance from Tushmani, but it came off the outside of the post. Both teams have hit a post now. And we will continue this game here without making any subs at half time as Gabriel Jesus comes on for Makoko on that right wing for PSG. Ball down the right hand side for PSG here. It's coming to Haaland and he's just skied that over the bar. And I think we're going to make some changes here with an hour gone. Salah struggling for fitness, so what we'll do is we'll bring on Rodrigo to play out on that right hand side, and in midfield there's not really that many good playing plays in midfield. To bring on Antonelli. I've just had looked in the bottom here. There's been a goal. Well, that's not good. At least we're making changes because we're going to have to done it. We played out from the back here. Thielman with it. Switches the play over to Sutalo. What does he do? Back to Bentancur, and it's a poor pass from Bentancur. And Yeremy Pino, former Villarreal man, scores a goal against us here, and we are 1-0 down now. He wasn't at Villarreal when we were there. He'd just been sold to PSG, and that's disappointing indeed as he swings the ball in. Again here, and Haaland tucks that one in, and we're 2-0 down. That's his 27th goal of the season. That's a ridiculous number of goals this early on in the season. But it looks like we are going to lose to PSG here. Bastoni heads that in. It hit Haaland, and the keeper was in no man's land at all. As Ward-Prowse crosses a corner in for us, and we head that one in, and that's Sutalo who tucks it in, but they're going to check for offside, are they? Was there a man on the goalkeeper who was in the offside position? I'm not sure. The referee's going to check this. Is it going to be a goal for us, or is it going to be disallowed? It's been awarded. Fantastic. Ward-Prowse the ball into the front post. Sutalo heads it. Bentancur nearly in the way. Oh no, in fact it goes to Bentancur. That's why they were checking for offside. He got a header on the ball. He puts it in, and it's 2-1, and we maybe do have a chance here unless PSG go right at the other end and score straight away. Gabriel Jesus on this right hand side into Haaland, and that's just wide of the goal. And there's just over 50 minutes to go, and we're back in this game. Wow, it's amazing how just one chance changes things. Wan-Bissaka into Paretta, who heads that one in, and we've somehow got ourselves back in the game after we'd thrown it away with the goal to Pino and then Haaland from the corner. We've crossed in the ball twice, and we've scored 2 headed goals. Wan-Bissaka, lovely ball in. Paretta get away from his man at the back post, and it's 2-2 now. And maybe we could do something here with 10 minutes to go. We'll need to have a look in the midfield. Tushmani is really struggling, but we don't really have many people who can cover in that central midfield area. That is the problem as it stands. We will however take off Tushmani. We'll bring on Demir. He's not ideal in central midfield, but he can do it if we have to do it. And there's just 10 minutes to go as we'll demand some more from this team. And there's another highlight. Reese forward, but we've won the ball back. And Bentancur plays it back to Thielman. Ward-Prowse now. Maronier goes down this left-hand side. Back to Christensen. And Ward-Prowse and Maronier. And it's into Rodrigo, who's at the back post. And it's scooped by Donnarumma there. That went straight to him. And he's nearly made a mistake of, or a hash, I should say, there of that opportunity to save that one. But it wasn't to be. He didn't cause a mistake that resulted in a goal. And we've ended up drawing that game 2-2. And I'm not quite sure how to take it because I thought we'd thrown it away. We then got ourselves right back into the game. We've actually had a couple of chances in that game and probably done enough that we could come away with a victory. So should we be disappointed? I'm not sure if you're 2-0 down against PSG, you can be disappointed with a draw to end up with a draw, I should say, in the game. But yes, I would say I probably am a bit disappointed if you look in the match as a whole. As I said, we could not afford to lose that game, and we haven't done that. However, a draw does mean we could still be 6 points behind if PSG win their game in hand. We're unbeaten after 21 games, and we could still end up being 6 points behind a leader. Too many draws. That's what's causing the problem for us here. So we really have to hope that PSG drop some points over the second half of the season. And basically, we can't afford to drop any, which is crazy to think when we've only played 21 games this season that we can't afford to drop any more points. The draw for the first knockout round of the Champions League has been made, and we've been drawn up against Arsenal. I'm unsure if I showed you that when we were looking at the fixtures and the results early on. But we will come back for the first leg of the first knockout round up against Arsenal. It's a tough draw. It really is. But they are down in 8th in the Premier League. At least they were. They might have moved slightly since I last looked at the Premier League. They were struggling a little bit in the Premier League under Pep Guardiola. Remember, Pep took over from us at Roma and really kind of ruined the Roma project we'd done there after we did so well as manager of Roma. So maybe a little bit of a grudge match up against him. I'm not sure if you could say it is, but maybe a little bit of a grudge match. But we will be playing up against Arsenal. We'll have another game in Ligue 1 around that time as well. And that's going to be the next episode. So if you have enjoyed this one, which was a little January update as well as a quite dramatic 2-2 draw up against PSG, then please do leave a like on the video. It really does help us out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until the next one, we'll see you then.